by tomorrow evening of the, I've got the list made, but the prices aren't all attached. So I'm going to work on that tonight, and it should be ready for publication, so to speak, by tomorrow evening. And for the details to follow, and of course all of it, hopefully, is going to be at Sparkfest in Leamington in a couple of weeks, the 13th, I think. But I'll get the list as soon as I have it, Graham. I'll send you a copy, but you may have to remind me. I've got lots of irons in the fire at the moment. And that was a big job, sorting all the stuff. It's amazing how much stuff Terry did have. So I've got 2 great big boxes full of freebies at the Sparkfest. Basically, we're going to dump the boxes, and you can go through and pick up what you want. There's lots of cables and connectors and all kinds of bits and pieces. But all the, what I call the A-list stuff will be ready by tomorrow night, I hope. Thank you, Graham, for your interest. And George, V3TPD.
Good evening to all on that. Not much going on around here. I got a little bit of lawn cut today. Sort of departed from the radio activity. Not much going on. Band has been, kind of here and there, and DS100 is dead. I don't know if anybody's noticed the 900 machine up in Windsor. It's been iffy for the last couple of days too. But hey, other than that, not much going on. Enjoyed this cooler weather. It's been a rough time.
Talking to a new user of 220 and 900. Terry had both those radios, and I'm going to buy them. I've got them installed here, and I've had a couple of conversations on both frequencies. I talked to Graham there yesterday, and he said the band wasn't really up for him. But maybe we can try it there in a minute, George, after the net on 900 to see what it sounds like. I don't know that band very well, so and I guess I'm making it. Okay, thanks, George. And next up is Rick of E3TV in Riverside.
Yeah, good evening, Jerry. Everybody else on net. Sounds like you got a good one going tonight. Well, we enjoying the cooler weather like everybody else there. And just a couple of short announcements. The OnTARS net will be starting up, will be returning to full time starting on Tuesday, September the 1st for any 80-meter fans. For the summer it was on 7 to noon summer hours. Let me buy a minute. And then next week from today, September 6th, the Soda Net will start up again at 8 p.m. on Sunday evening. So looking forward to that. So that's on Talk Group 3024, TJIF Network, DMR Talk Group there. So that's about it, Jerry. Back to you, V3TV.
Okay, Rick, thank you. Thank you for the information. And, it's Labor Day's next weekend already. Holy cow. And Sean, VA3SGM, good evening. You're returned home and trust you had a good week. Go ahead. Slipped on the foot switch there. Good evening, Jerry, and all on that. It wasn't a bad week. I mean, vacation is always good, but the weather didn't cooperate as well as I would have liked, and had some issues with watercraft that sort of took a little bit of the fun out of things. But when you've got 35-year-old equipment, it's bound to give you trouble now and then. Kind of goes with the goes with the price of admission. So it was good though. We enjoyed some company of some fellow hams up there, watching some animals. Did get out on the lake a few times, so all in all, not bad. And going to mention one thing ran across up there. VE3RMI, the repeater on Manitoulin Island and Little Current, is on a 500-foot tall CBC tower that is 1,100 feet above the lake. I think it's only about halfway up the tower. They put some new stuff up on the tower this year.
just a new Sinclair and new Heliacs. And the thing is absolutely amazing. I'm getting into it from St. Joe's Island, roughly 160 kilometers away, and I'm Q5 with a old Asden and a Hustler ground plane hanging in a tree about 40 feet above the water. So kind of amazing. The machine has coverage all the way from Sault Ste. Marie to Sudbury, and gets a tremendous amount of use. Just found that kind of amazing. They said that they've never had coverage like this. They're not even sure why it works so well, but it's revived a whole lot of interest in that area. Yeah, I got home kind of late last night and had signed up to work a day shift today. So I got out of there at 3 o'clock, and I came home and did some mindless work like cutting grass. And I have a question. Is there antenna stuff that will need to be taken down at Terry's? VA3 SGM returning.
Yes, we'll talk about that later. In fact, you wanted to meet for coffee, so we can talk about that later in the week. And I think you volunteered already, if you'll remember. So thank you, and we'll chat later. And Terry's got at last count at least 5 rotators. Most of them appear to be heavy duty. All of them look like they've been refurbished and painted. But there's only one ham 4. And it's spoken for, I think. Not by me, but somebody else. So we'll see. Thanks, Sean, and thanks for the information. I know why they're getting so good results. You mentioned the word Manitoulin Island, quotation marks on island. Over the water, that thing probably rocks. I'm more interested in knowing how they afford to be on a CBC site, because most amateur groups in Canada got kicked off because they wouldn't pay CBC's exorbitant rents. So it'll be interesting to know the backstory on how they've arranged to be on a CBC or still remain on a CBC tower. I know some of the powers that be up there had some pretty good contacts. So maybe that was it, but it'd be interesting to know that story. Thank you, Sean, and out to Leamington once more for VA3IKE.
And good evening to everyone on net. I can't tell you much about what's been going on for the past week. Been playing radio, mostly 2-meter sideband. Definitely early in the morning till about 9 or 10, and then again about 8:30 till 10 at night. So I'm having a blast. That's about it. Having a couple problems, but I got to wait till Sean is settled at home before I talk to him. Other than that, I'll let it go. Thanks, Jerry. VA3IK.
Very good, Ike. Well, I'm sure you and he will click in due course. And Tim, VA3TGN or VE3TGN? Hello.
Hello, Jerry, and everybody on frequency there. Good evening there. Well, I had a little message from Timmy this week. His plant 1 and 2, he hadn't worked with this fella in February, but they had a couple cases of the Conrad 19, and Timmy was tested, and he definitely was negative. So that was good to hear about that. But definitely they were off working to get the people cleared up and that. So he's sort of on a layoff right now. They're over.
14 days is where it's at. Good for him. He doesn't have it, at least. He didn't check positive for it, and a couple of weeks he's off, and hopefully they can get back to work. Thanks, Tim, and thanks for your comments. And yes, as we look at the situation in the States, keeps on deteriorating, and people over there just don't get it, period. So once again, this is the Border City Radio Club, Sunday night 6-meter net. We await further check-ins. Go ahead. E3FME. You're all by yourself, old man. Good evening.
Good evening, VE3EXT. This is VE3FME. I tried checking in earlier. I think I doubled with Tim, and I think I may have doubled it twice. Does that make it a double-double? Yuck. Oh, we've had a good day here. And my daughter is visiting from Mississauga, and we just got back from a walk the back of the field and harvesting some really good tomatoes and stuff. So, other than that, just relaxing, enjoying the nice weather. So, good evening to all, 73 to everybody, and nice to hear people on. And so, back to you, Jerry. This is VE3FME. Back to you.
Okay, Brett, very good. Well, I hope she didn't bring any bad things from the Big Apple there. But yes, we all have to continue precautions. I had an amateur over at the house here today, and he jumps out of his car and says, "Where's your mask?" And I said, "Great. Where's yours?" So we ended up having our visit mask on. So that's what you got to do in this day and age. Actually, you get so used to it, you don't even notice. Doesn't bother me a bit. Anyway, anyone else? We'll just see if there are any further check-ins, and then we'll see if anyone has any comments, questions, need help, or otherwise any good information for the good of amateur radio. So before we do that, are there any further check-ins for the net? Anyone have any comments or questions, etc.?
BA3SGM.
Go ahead, Sean.
November.
All right, Tim. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, a couple things. Back to your comment about the repeater and how they afford the CBC rent. Well, it may have something to do with the Ontario North Section Manager. I think Section Manager is the right term. I know that's the ARRL term, but being the president of the club and being well-versed at negotiating with people like CBC, I did hear something about that. They're rather pleased that they're one of the few that was able to negotiate a reasonably affordable deal to keep that on the tower. Although they apparently had to jump through hoops to swap out the antenna, even though they were replacing it with something about the same. I did hear about that. And yes, I did volunteer, and I'm still good for doing that work. And I might be interested in one of the heavy-duty rotators, depending what it is. Almost got my curiosity piqued now. You said he's got several, but only one of them is a ham 4. Curious what the others are. I might be interested in one of them. All right, that's it for me. I will turn it back to you. Say good evening to everybody, and we'll talk a little bit later this week, and maybe can meet up for coffee one night.
That would be good. That would be good. The same guy you're talking about also used to carry a gun for a living, so maybe that helped. But anyway. Okay, Sean, thank you. And yeah, if we do meet up, I'll throw the rotators in the van, and you can have a look at them, see what you think. Tim, you had a comment.
What are they having in the Hamfest they're at? Is a nursing home there, or are they going to have it at Mike's place like they have in the past? Over?
QTH or Mike UCY, but it's going to be a different format this year. Instead of in the driveway and the front of his house and garage and so on, it's going to be in a grass field next door where we can spread out. Masks will be required. You have to sign in. And there's one other thing. I forget what the other rule is. I'm just picking all this up in conversation with people this week. There was one other requirement. Sign in, masks, and something else. Anyway, so that's on Sunday, September 13th. And I didn't hear of a rain date, so hopefully it doesn't rain. September is usually pretty nice. Anyone else with comments or questions?
Okay, comment.
Matt, go ahead.
6 feet apart, and I believe only 50 people will be allowed, quote unquote, to be logged in at one time, but that may not be a problem. Anyways, the other comment was, it was just about 2 years ago, if somebody knocked on your door wearing a mask, you wouldn't open it. Now, today, somebody knocks on your door wearing a mask, or not wearing a mask, and you won't open it. What the hell's wrong with our society?
There's several versions of that one floating around, but you're quite right. How the worm turns, eh? And yeah, that was the point. No more than 50 people at a time, but I don't think there's going to be a problem there. And and people come and go, so it's going to work out fine space-wise. There's lots of open space, so it should be fine. All right, anyone else? Go ahead.
TV?
Rick?
Yeah, I believe being in stage 3 is up to 100 people in the outside gatherings. And the other requirement was hand sanitizer.
All makes sense to me. And the only other thing I hope people bring is money, because I'm going to a lot of trouble, a lot of stuff out there. And I don't really want to have to bring it all home. Anyway, anyone else with comments, questions, or wish to check in?
Yeah.
Hedrick?
Yes, about the radiata, the HT, Terry did have the programming cable, so it might be, in with a bunch of other cables or something there.
And all day Friday in the rain, I had everything spread out on my garage floor. And, I got microphones together, wall warts together, coax cables together, and it's all sorted. And I have a list of about 5 things I'm looking for, which I know Terry had that go with different radios and things. I was a little panicky. One of those big radios, I couldn't find the power plug, and I'm thinking, well, how did that get separated? Because when I took the stuff all apart, I made sure that they stayed attached. But I did find it eventually. But as I say, Terry had quite a bit of stuff. So come and look at it in Leamington. All right, with that, I'm going to put out a last call. And this is, again, the Border City Radio Club Sunday Night Net. And this is your last opportunity for 1 week to check in. Tonight, so that's not too bad for a summer evening. And thanks all for taking the time to check in. Have a good week, and we'll see you next Sunday night. This is the 3 Echo X-Ray Tango.
A3IK.
Good night.
You advertising this Hamfest outside of our area?
Bill, the 3ES is promoting it. He was the guy that was here today that I talked about mask to mask. And he is promoting it all the way to London and to Sarnia, etc., etc.
This be about the only Hamfest this year. There might be more than 100 people.
Well, if they're all as starved as I am to go to swaps, although the stuff on my list, believe it or not, I've pretty well gathered it all up from other sources this year. Paid a little more, but I didn't mind paying more because I didn't have to go and no gas, no motels, etc., no admission fees, so I could afford to pay a little bit more. I got to tell you guys, there's a great electronics store in Burlington. There's actually 4 or 5 of them in the Golden Horseshoe called SAYAL, S-A-Y-A-L, Electronics, and they are very good. I visited with my brother at the end of July, and I called SAYAL, and they got all my stuff together. He picked it up. He lives in Burlington and delivered it to me, so pretty handy. I'm threatening to go down there one day for a trip. It's doable. It's a 3-hour trip each way, but as a fall and winter project, it'd be nice to go. It's a great spot to browse. They got a lot of stuff. Arduino stuff and just everything you can think of. Very well done. Anyway, I'm out of here. Back to you, Ike.